Hello everyone, Namaste and Namaskar from India. This is Professor A.G. IYER, the President of bodies like Renewable Energy Promotion Association and the Marconomy Foundation in India, and also the Editor-in-Chief of Inertia, a journal on sustainable energy, power and renewables, and the Marconomy Journal, the journal on sustainable economy and infrastructure. The key areas that are necessary to actually progress the world order and definitely progress India. And I'm also the author of India BRANDished, Superpowering Brand India. This book was actually a contemporary book to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's India 2020. So India BRANDished, Superpowering Brand India 2022 was the timeline, and the other book India 200 are contemporary books. And I must also mention the third book that came almost all one after the other, was the India Unbound by Gushran Das, which is predominantly a business and corporate oriented book. But our book, it's my book, written with my late brother A. Prakash Iyer, India BRANDished, Superpowering Brand India, was a landmark book other than Dr. Kalam's book, and I will talk about two major elements that is very important. Dr. Kalam's book brought out Pura, which is providing urban amenities in rural area, and the other book which we have written, that is India BRANDished, brought out a very interesting concept called RELC, which is a remote location of strategic infrastructure and industry. The Indian economy, the Indian polity and the Indian enterprise can show in reversing climate or change or a climate order, and actually reaching the targets of zero carbon or zero emissions, zero further emissions. The past emissions are there. Zero further emissions by literally 2047. That's the belief and firm belief that I have. And today is the 31st day of 2021, which is the eve of the onset of the new year. And the time at this moment in India is roughly, when I'm recording this video, is roughly reaching about 7:20 p.m. When I'm doing this recording, we are going towards 7:20 p.m. in the evening when it started, this recording started. So with all these backgrounds, I wish to now come to the point of this video, and basically I want to review just a few points, not a long one, of what happened to 2021. So coming to events in India, and there are many other events, I may miss some of them, but I want to just put the timelines of a few of them. We saw the worst impacts of COVID-19 in this year, and we definitely saw that there were states that were doing well like Maharashtra, but there were states like UP which could not control the COVID spread that happened in front of us. We saw the death of so many people in this country. We also saw the situation that the farmers continued their agitation from November, and it picked up against the farm laws, and it was finally repealed at the end of the year. So that saga ended in a year's time approximately before before it could blow out further. So the government itself took a step to repeal the farm laws, which we had, people like us have always recommended that these laws have to be definitely discussed, deliberated, and anything has to be done, then it has to be done from scratch one. That means we have to keep the laws, these laws at abeyance, and discuss what the farmers want. Now, very important for me when I'm saying this, that we cannot forget the big slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and later on this was given by Lal Bahadur Shastriji, one of the greatest prime ministers we had, and then it was followed up by Vajpayee, whom I love, Atalji. I am the biographer of Atalji, that also biography written with my late brother A. Prakash Iyer, Atal Shastra, that's the book. So as we would address him as Atal Shastra as authors. So Atal Shastra, Atalji, brought out Jai Vigyan in this whole equation. And I have been pitching this year more to add the fourth element of Jai Insan, which is the human angle, the humanitarian point, because all of them are Insan, the Kisan, Jawan, but it's important to pronounce Jai Insan, because then after these three lots, the rest of the country, the common man has to be encouraged to grow in this country and contribute to this nation, great nation of ours. So therein comes the point that I will again remind all people who have forgotten the great leader Sri Jayaprakash Narayan, and he was the man who brought a revolution to the country, and he was part of the Quit India movement of Gandhiji, and he was basically the pillar and the backbone of the Quit India. That must be known. The Quit India was on the ground executed by Sri Jayaprakash Narayan, and his entire pitch has been forgotten, which was Sarvodaya. That is the rise of all. Sarvodaya must never be compromised, and that's the point. So if you look at the events, we are not looking at Sarvodaya. We are looking at everything other than Sarvodaya. We are giving slogans but not following it. See, irrespective, I would say, of course, if the ruling dispensation gets it wrong, it is also the duty of the opposition to catch them and create a discourse. But unfortunately, minus the blame games with each other, and the discourse has not happened. And then I think the intent of the ruling regime also to scuttle discourse has been an allegation that's going on for long, and then it's very visible that this kind of things keep happening time and again. So what else happened? So one major event was that when you look at the Indian diaspora, the thing was that we have seen that a lot of, I would say, religious intolerance has set in, unfortunately, which is not the vision of any of our previous leaders in the country, the Prime Minister, and even the current Prime Minister. I think he must come very strongly against these forces, because once you divide the country on religious, caste, creed, community lines, then you don't have an India. Basically, India is unity in diversity, and we are the only example of the great idea of secularism, which many may not like, but actually that's the only way India can progress. Secularism is the pillar of the constitution. We are a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and each word is important in this, and then we can't compromise any of this. Now the problem with people is they confuse everything. When they talk of socialism, they don't even understand that this is not belonging to any one particular theory, but the ideal idea of socialism will be when somebody reads Count Leo Tolstoy. And the same picture, when we talk of secularism, we are not talking of minority appeasement, and neither we can go to majority appeasement. Both are not secularism. So the true secularism is to ensure that religion is a private matter, and we are in a religious state, and therefore our only two principles that will work is Sarva Dharma Samabhava, that is all religions are equal, and I will add all caste, creed, community, and everything has to be treated equally, given equal opportunities, given equal participation in the democracy of India. And the other thing is, which we believe, and it's a world order we believe in, and that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the world is one family. So we can't divorce our thought and hearts and soul from these fundamental principles. And let us not forget the great Swami Vivekananda, whom I consider as a spiritual mentor, even though we are not from Vivekanandaji's time, but I have some blessings, and I can tell you that he was very clear. Hinduism is not religion, it's a way of life. And then if we have to go further, then let us discuss Hinduvad. Hinduvad is dialogue of Hindus with other religions, if you believe in the Hinduism. And Hinduism is a way of life, as I told, it's not religion. So dialogue with other religions, other faiths, other beliefs. It's Vad, it's not Vivad. So any other idea that is promoted under any card will not work. So basically, the two pillars, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Sarva Dharma Samabhava, has to be our guiding principles. And 1,000 times we must say this. That's very important. And 10,000 times, lack of times, we must say this. So this is my wish, which with all those few events that I have guided out. And then there are international events. There are a lot of Indian events. Like our economy has gone to literally very bad shape right now, because we are seeing a situation where we have a combination of inflations, and on the other side we have a stagflation situation. And government can keep in denial, but the hard reality is we have come to that stage. On one side, everything is up. Look at the price of commodities. We are paying within 2 years of the time of the pandemic as well. But we can't blame everything to the pandemic. But what we have done is, our edible oil is hitting rupees 200 a liter, and we are also seeing 100 rupees plus fuel, when I think the prices in the international market do not at all stand the same prices that we faced several years back, 2013 level or 14 level, 2013 to be precise. 2013, we had faced the highest crude oil, I would say spike. But then the prices at that time and the prices compare, there's no logic, because it's lower now and we are paying higher price than what we paid in 2013. So government has to look at this model and cannot keep defending it. It's a skewed model and it doesn't work, and it has driven inflation all around in the country. That's the situation on that end. And every commodity has come up. Everything has gone up. You go and the load on top of it of taxes of GST, increasing GST right, left, and center. That's not going to help. The GST has been a killer in the past because of grossly skewed method in which it has 4 rates. It does not have a standardized 2 rates. My belief is the MSMEs up to 25 crores should just pay 5% GST. That's it. And the rest of them should pay 12%. Whether they are big company, small company, does not matter. So the government has to come to a proper scientific approach and not allow the kind of misuse of by any interpretation by tax authorities who are every day seeing constant changes. So this is not going to help the country. A reasonable quantum of GST will enable Indian export, will enable the economy, will move. And this was the very bad timing also to continuously increase. So like textiles, they increased 5 to 12%, but they have just reversed. But same has happened with solar, and which is like a sunrise area. It's growing still. We are not reached 50 gigawatt of solar, while neighboring China has crossed 250 gigawatts. So this is not the time to put up a higher tax and try to stall solar. So I would say that's a very bad idea. So from all angles, it's been a disappointment of sorts. 2021. I can go on, and even the COVID vaccines that we have done. We've been talking about these vaccines being great, but let me tell you, we had a lot of losses in between. So we lost our great mentor in hydropower, Yogindra Prasadji, 22nd April. Then in the month of May, another great friend of ours, Satish Chandra Tripathi, S.C. Tripathi, who was the former Secretary of Petroleum, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas of the Government of India. We lost him to COVID. Both the deaths happened to COVID. And then I would say in the same month of April, we had also lost former Chairman and Managing Director of Power Grid, Sri S.K. Chaturvedi. So these are the friends whom I saw that they had gone, and Prasadji's loss was a big loss for all of us. It was a telling loss for especially me personally. And other than that, recently what happened, one of the inventors of a brand new, startup, Baxbio, which is it's a company based out of Germany, and we have a tie-up with them. We try to bring this vaccine at a very low cost for Indians, less than $5 to start with, and maybe bring it down to $3 or so. And this recombinant tech vaccine, the right technique to make the vaccine, Dr. Bluk, who educated me on the virology issues, and his colleague Gaurav Gupta was the co-inventor, who is also an alumnus of the Amity School of Virology, and also in the past the Haryana Agriculture University, and he worked at the Bombay Veterinary College, and is a distinguished guy who was Bluk's partner in Germany and Switzerland, and they have a patent for this. We were trying to bring this vaccine because unless the government supports, no vaccine can come up. But this recombinant tech was the right classical vaccine, which would have used the right technique, which is basically to deploy biosimilars, which generate virus-like particles, which are not the virus. So they are, I would say, particles that VLPs, which would be used to actually trigger a viral type of response or mirror the virus. This is the technique that was seconded by none other than Dr. Kleitman of the Harvard Medical School from United States of America. They were all working together in Germany. Their animal trials, the only vaccine that did a full animal trial before they came to human beings. So this was the going on, and we didn't get too much encouragement at that time in India. But of course, some moment is there. Let's see if wisdom prevails. But the vaccines that we have selected are question mark, and that has been proven now by very answers, even answers by the ICMR itself. Dr. Balram Bhargava's recent statement tells you that it's not going to enable, it may, the word is may, it may stop the virus from taking you to a situation of death, but it will not stop infection. That's what is coming out. And the reason is very scientific, because the vaccines that we are talking about worldwide, whether the Moderna, whether it's the BioNTech, Pfizer, all these are basically mRNA vaccine, and that means they are literally genetic intervention, or rather we call genetically fiddling vaccines. And this technique has not been used in the past, and therefore the use of the word emergency use authorization was correct. But then we have used this for mass authorization now, and we have mass authorized them for mass vaccination. And these are not, they cannot be qualified as vaccines, they are therapeutics. So these issues were not debated, discussed. We just went on a massive trial, and it was not only India, it's the whole world order that did it. So it's shameful that this world order, instead of listening to the virologists, it has been controlled by the pharma, the Gavi, the big pharma cabal, the Gates run cabal, Bill Gates. And sorry, I do not approve of Bill Gates' methods, to push everything at his behest and where he has interest. And so this has happened, and Dr. Fauci was the main culprit, and we saw Trump losing elections over there. So I'm coming to this international situation. So further it deepens, these all issues deepen, because nobody tried China, which actually 100% leaked the virus, and it can be seen as a kind of a soft, very covert biowarfare, where the virus, many people have researched, and allegations have come up that they have tried to hybridize the virus, putting elements of HIV, and those kind of things have come out now. But all this is going on, and there was complete doubt on a successful vaccine, but everybody played ball to the situation. Everybody wanted to vaccinate everybody. Instead of going to I'm not against vaccination, my friends. I'm against the wrong vaccine, wrong method, wrong system, trial and error, and using humans as guinea pigs and test beds, rather than using safer, secure ideas like recombinant technology in the virology. So virologists have to come forward, and they have been conspicuous by the silence, their own silence, and at the same time the world media has really played badly. Indian media definitely played badly. They have been cuckooing to the pharma enterprises, and it has been the medical system and the cabal that has been worldwide, which has been pushing its agenda up there, instead of actually finding a cure for humanity in a sincere way. So these questions arise, and with seeing all this death, destruction, leaders who had almost no spine, this kind of a world order, and then finally seeing when a spineless action turned out that the most spineless act was done by Donald Trump, the American president, when he went and signed with Taliban a deal sanctifying their presence in, literally Afghanistan. And then we see the rest of the things that's happening. US not only withdrew, but actually gave on a platter everything to Taliban, so that they decide what they want to do with Afghanistan. So this was a sad development, and this reminds me of the great Vajpayee, who was the only world leader who questioned at the time when the Bamia statues were being pummeled, in the right in the Middle East, and that was the beginning of the Taliban. Everybody thought that these Buddha statues, when they go, nothing will happen, and we have seen history repeating itself. And now, again Taliban is back in action over there, and all these extreme entities are over there. But the sad part of the story is, we in India are looking like mirroring that kind of a situation, and it is not fair for us, because we need to, at this time, we have to have unity. So I hope the leaders look at all these issues, and all the leaders, I'm not only going to talk about the ruling party, but all leaders, let us find a way forward that, yes, if Election Commission can make an act, I would be very happy, that you cannot ask for votes on religion, you cannot ask vote on caste, creed, community. If you do this, the candidature will be instantly cancelled. If something like this comes up, it will be better for this country. And we need national governments. The time has come for learning from Atalji's and Atal Bihari Vajpayee's and Narasimha Rao ji's governments. But of course, both. Because when I say one thing, one party will get annoyed, and when I say other thing, the other party gets annoyed. So basically, both the leaders were septuagenarians. They came from different dimensions and dispensations. But when it came to running the country, there's a lot of similarity in what Atalji did and Narasimha Rao did. They worked for the country, they worked for the rise of the nation, and they worked for the development of the nation. And Narasimha Rao famously brought us out of absolute penury. We can give credit to Manmohan Singh, but Manmohan Singh was his finance minister. So without Rao's choice of a finance minister of that order, it would have not come up. So he is less celebrated. Let's celebrate P.V. Narasimha Rao, great man. And I am supposed to come up with a book called Narsimha Sutra after my book Atal Shastri. Atalji, I really salute him, but there was barely a difference between Atalji and Narsimha Rao. For me, both were masters of coalition politics, and they brought consensually operated political economies. They succeeded in it. So this is all recorded in my work in the book, and I don't want to talk more in this video. It is to wish all of you a very happy and prosperous 2022. Whatever happened in 2021, I think we must learn from the lessons of history, and I hope that all of us try to bring unity in diversity as a major factor for the next year, and we hope that India goes forward as a more peaceful, hopeful, and a great nation as we go forward. And if I hope in 2020 we could reverse what all happened before. Winning or losing does not matter. As Atalji famously said, that partiyan आएंगी जाएंगी पर देश रहना चाहिए. And on that note, I want to say goodbye and a great 2022 for all of you. Jai Hind, and hail the world. Jai Hind. Let the global citizens come forward and let our fight versus climate change take a different dimension. Maybe we look at new area of promoting the rural economy, and through that we have actually brought this idea of compressed biogas to be delivered from the rural economy, and going towards that kind of an objective, that let's go rural, let's make rural more powerful. Let's not urbanize them, but do a LC on them. That is remote location strategic infrastructure industry to bring rural employment and deployment in this country, make it a great nation again. And yes, in this I have a word for my friends from Bhutan. Every country I love, but my greatest love goes to Bhutan for their gross national happiness. And I borrow that whole idea, which is in my book Bhutan BRANDished, because the other book that I wrote is Bhutan BRANDished, and this is a book which was launched in 2019 on the birthday, 64th birth anniversary of the Honorable 4th Drup Gyalpo, and that's the 4th King of Bhutan, His Majesty Jigme Singh Wangchuk, and his 5th King, his son, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk, His Majesty now. So basically I have a great love for Bhutan and Bhutanese, and all the best to this country. And they will remain our best friend. I hope we can do much more with Bhutan. And yes, my recent friendships going on with Vietnam, I look at that as a progress. And yes, our friendship with countries like Germany and Japan has to be made stronger, especially with the European Union. So there are endless things that have to be done, tasks that are uncompleted. Let's go to 2022 with a positive wisdom and vision for a better India, for an India Brandished, to superpower this brand in due course. And Jai Hind once again. Jai Bharat, Jai Hindustan. See you in 2022.